What if I told you that some of the wealthiest people alive today live in the same house they bought 20 years ago, drive cars that are older than some of their employees, and shop with coupons? Not because they have to, because they chose to. And what if I also told you that the average person earning twice their income is somehow more stressed about money, more in debt, and closer to financial disaster than they were 5 years ago? This isn't a coincidence. It's a pattern. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. In 2026, we're living through one of the strangest financial moments in history. Prices are higher. Attention is shorter. The pressure to spend on experiences, on aesthetics, on keeping up with a life you see on a screen has never been more aggressive. And yet, quietly, a small group of people are doing something that looks almost radical by today's standards. They're living on less, owning less, spending less, and somehow ending up with more. These are the minimalist money rules. And they're not about being cheap. They're not about deprivation. They're about something far more powerful, understanding the difference between what money can buy and what money can actually do for your life. There are 8 of them. Most people know a few, but rule number 4, almost nobody talks about it. And it might be the most important one of all. Let's get into it. Before we get to the rules, we need to talk about the trap. There's a deeply embedded belief in modern culture that the goal of earning money is to spend it, that a rising income should produce a rising lifestyle. Bigger apartment, newer car, better phone, fancier restaurants. It feels logical. You worked hard, you earned more, you deserve more. Economists have a name for this. They call it lifestyle inflation. And it is silently responsible for more financial failure than bad investments, medical bills, and job losses combined. Here's how it works. You're 24, earning $3,000 a month. Life is a little tight but manageable. Then you get a raise. Now you're earning $4,200 a month. You move to a nicer place, you upgrade your car, you eat out more, you upgrade your phone plan, and within 6 months, you're just as tight as you were before, maybe tighter, because now your fixed expenses are higher. Then you get another raise, and the cycle repeats. The income goes up, the lifestyle goes up, the savings stay flat, and the financial anxiety never actually goes away. It just disguises itself better. This is the trap, and the reason most people never escape it isn't intelligence or opportunity, it's awareness. They never stop to question whether the upgrade was actually necessary, whether the bigger apartment made them genuinely happier, whether the newer car was worth 2 extra years of payments. Minimalist money rules aren't about living poorly. They're about living deliberately. They're about breaking the automatic link between earning more and spending more, and using that gap to build something that actually lasts.
Rule 1. Spend on utility, not identity. Every purchase you make falls into one of 2 categories. Either you're buying what something does, or you're buying what it says about you. A car that gets you from point A to point B reliably, that's utility. A car that signals your status, your taste, your success, that's identity. And identity purchases are almost always the most expensive, most depreciating, and least satisfying in the long run. Research in behavioral psychology consistently shows that people adapt to status purchases extraordinarily quickly. The thrill of the new car fades within weeks. The excitement of the designer item disappears within days. But the monthly payment? That stays around for years. Minimalist money rule number 1 is simple. Before any significant purchase, ask yourself which category it falls into, utility or identity. You don't have to eliminate identity spending entirely, but you should know which one you're doing. Unconscious identity spending is where most people bleed money without realizing it. Rule 2. Own the asset before you enjoy the lifestyle. This rule sounds strict. It isn't. It's actually just sequencing. Most people sequence their financial life like this: spend first, save what's left, invest someday. Minimalists flip it. Invest first, build assets, then let the assets fund the lifestyle.
The practical version of this looks like before you upgrade your rent, increase your investment contribution by the same amount and live on the old budget for 3 more months. Before you buy the new phone, make sure your emergency fund is fully stocked. Before you book the expensive holiday, check whether your net worth actually grew this quarter. You're not saying no to the lifestyle, you're saying not yet. Assets first, enjoyment second. It changes everything about how fast wealth builds. Rule 3. The one-day rule for every non-essential purchase. Impulse buying is not a character flaw, it's a neurological response. When you see something you want, your brain releases dopamine, the same chemical associated with reward and pleasure. And here's the thing, the dopamine spike actually peaks before the purchase, during the anticipation, which means that by the time you've bought something, the chemical reward is already fading. This is why buyer's remorse exists. The purchase didn't deliver what the anticipation promised. The one-day rule is simple. For any non-essential purchase above a certain threshold, say $30 or $50, you wait 24 hours before buying. Just one day. During that window, the dopamine fades, the urgency evaporates, and your rational brain gets a chance to ask, do I actually want this, or did I just want to want it? Studies show that a significant portion of impulse purchases are abandoned after even a short waiting period. Not because people become more disciplined, but because the desire simply wasn't that strong to begin with. The urgency was manufactured. Rule 4. Never upgrade your fixed costs, upgrade your assets instead. Here it is, the rule most people ignore completely. Fixed costs are the expenses that show up every single month regardless of what you do. Rent, car payment, insurance, subscriptions, loan repayments. They are the foundation your financial life is built on, and they are almost impossible to reduce once they go up. This is the asymmetry nobody talks about. When your income increases and you upgrade your lifestyle, your fixed costs rise. And fixed costs are sticky. They don't come back down easily when income drops, when emergencies hit, or when circumstances change. You've locked yourself into a level of spending that your life must now support indefinitely. Every time you upgrade a fixed cost, you are raising the floor of what your life costs to maintain. And you are shrinking the gap between your income and your expenses, which is the only gap that actually builds wealth. Instead of upgrading fixed costs, upgrade assets. Put the extra money into investments, into skills that increase your earning power, into a business, into an emergency fund that makes you untouchable when things go wrong. The lifestyle upgrade you really want, the freedom, the security, the options, comes from growing that asset column, not from raising the floor. This is the rule that separates people who earn well and still feel broke from people who earn modestly and feel genuinely free. The difference is almost always fixed costs. Rule 5. Measure wealth in options, not objects. Ask yourself honestly, what does being wealthy actually feel like? Most people, if they imagine wealth, picture things, a house, a car, clothes, watches. But those who've actually built wealth will tell you something different. Wealth feels like being able to say no to a job you hate. It feels like having 3 months of expenses in the bank when something goes wrong. It feels like not having to check your account before a grocery run. Wealth is options, and objects are often the enemies of options because objects cost money to buy, money to maintain, and mental energy to manage. Minimalism understands this instinctively. The less you own, the less you owe, in money, in maintenance, in mental load, and the more options you have with every dollar that comes in. Start measuring your wealth in options. How many months could you survive without income? How many opportunities could you say yes to right now? How many choices does your money give you today? Those numbers matter more than anything you own. Rule 6. Cut subscriptions ruthlessly, once a quarter. In 2026, the subscription economy is more aggressive than it has ever been. Streaming services, software tools, apps, meal kits, wellness platforms, cloud storage, news sites. Each one individually seems small. Together, they form a silent leak that drains hundreds of dollars a month without a single conscious decision. The insidious thing about subscriptions is that they exploit the pain of paying. Because they're automatic, invisible, and recurring, the brain stops registering them as spending. They feel like utilities, but most of them aren't. Once every 3 months, pull up your bank statements and list every recurring charge. For each one, ask one question. Did I use this enough last month to justify paying for it again? If the answer is no, or you can't even remember what it does, cancel it immediately. Most people who do this exercise for the first time find between $80 and $200 a month they were spending on things they'd completely forgotten about. That's not small money. Over a year, that's a significant investment contribution. Rule 7. Make your default boring. Wealthy minimalists don't make exciting financial decisions every day. They make a few very good decisions once and then make the default as boring as possible. Automate savings. Automate investments. Choose a simple index fund and stop touching it. Keep a basic budget that doesn't require daily monitoring. Cook at home most of the time as the default, not as the exception. This ties back to the psychology of decision fatigue. Every financial decision you make, even a small one, uses mental energy. And as that energy depletes throughout the day, your decisions get worse, more impulsive, more short-term, more expensive. The fewer active financial decisions you have to make, the better your outcomes will be. The goal is to design a financial life that runs well on autopilot, so that the only decisions left are the meaningful ones. Boring is underrated. Boring is what builds wealth quietly in the background while you live your actual life. Rule 8. Protect your earning power before anything else. This is the rule people skip because it doesn't feel like a money rule, but it might be the highest return investment of all. Your ability to earn is your most valuable financial asset. More valuable than your savings account, more valuable than your investment portfolio, because everything else depends on it. Protecting your earning power means several things. It means maintaining your physical health, because medical debt and lost productivity are devastating to long-term financial progress. It means continuously building skills that make you harder to replace and easier to promote. It means protecting your mental health, because financial decisions made from burnout, depression, or chronic stress are almost always poor ones. And it means having an emergency fund, 3 to 6 months of expenses, that ensures no single bad event can derail everything you've built. Because the biggest threat to your financial life isn't the stock market or inflation. It's the moment something goes wrong and you have no buffer. That's when people are forced to make desperate, expensive decisions that set them back years. Protect the engine first. Everything else follows. 8 rules, none of them complicated. None of them require a high income, a finance degree, or a dramatic lifestyle overhaul. What they require is something rarer than any of that. They require you to look honestly at the gap between what you're spending and what you're building, and decide that the building matters more than the spending. In 2026, the world will keep getting louder about what you should buy, what you should own, and what your life is supposed to look like. The pressure is real, the marketing is sophisticated, and the social comparison is relentless. But here's what nobody is advertising. The person with fewer subscriptions, a modest apartment, an automated investment account, and 3 months of savings in the bank, that person sleeps better than almost anyone around them. They have fewer emergencies because they planned for emergencies. They have more options because they didn't spend them away. They have more freedom because they didn't trade it for things that stopped feeling special weeks after they arrived. Minimalism isn't about having nothing. It's about having exactly enough. and making everything beyond that work for you. The richest version of your future self isn't wearing something expensive. They're sitting somewhere comfortable, looking at a number that keeps growing and feeling something that money alone can't buy: peace.